Have you ever heard stories of ancient civilizations, like the Mayans, who had a calendar system so precise it makes our modern Gregorian calendar look like a child's scribble? They could track cosmic cycles over millions of years, an astonishing feat of temporal calculation. Or what about the perplexing case of the Taos hum, a low-frequency rumble heard by only a small fraction of the population in Taos, New Mexico? For those who hear it, the sound seems to defy a single point of origin, and some have even claimed it has a strange effect on their sense of time, making it feel stretched or compressed. And then there are the whispered tales of synchronicity, those moments when two completely unrelated events happen to coincide in a way that feels too meaningful to be mere coincidence, as if the universe itself is winking at you from some temporal vantage point. All these strange facts, mysteries, and phenomena seem to point to one undeniable conclusion. Our understanding of time is, at best, a work in progress. And yet, despite all the weirdness, you probably won't survive this entire journey through the strange landscape of time without a few gentle reminders about our place in it. For you, time is a relentless, forward-moving arrow, a force that dictates every single moment of your existence. You wake up, you go to work, you eat dinner, you go to sleep. This predictable march of moments is so ingrained in your perception that you rarely, if ever, stop to question it. You feel time in the growing warmth of the sun on your face as morning turns to noon, in the gradual ache of your muscles after a long day, in the way a memory of a loved one who has passed becomes softer, more distant. Time is personal, it is intimate, and it is a fundamental, unavoidable part of what makes you, you. Before you and I get into more detail, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, why not post your location and what time it is for you right now? I'm always curious to see how we're all experiencing the same cosmic moment in such different ways. This perception of time, this constant feeling of moving from the past into the future, is a powerful illusion, but it's an illusion nonetheless. It feels so real, so absolute. You remember what you had for breakfast yesterday, and you plan what you'll wear tomorrow. The past is a fixed record, the future is an open possibility, and the present is the fleeting, razor-thin line between them. This is the simple, elegant narrative your mind constructs to make sense of the world. It's a survival mechanism, a way to organize a chaotic universe into a coherent story. The problem is, this personal, subjective experience of time doesn't quite align with what physics tells us. Physics, the grand storyteller of the universe, offers a much stranger tale. You see, for all the certainty you feel in time's flow, there is an open scientific mystery at the very heart of it. Time, as a concept, is the most fundamental yet perplexing concept in all of physics. It's the one thing we all agree exists, but we can't quite agree on what it is. Is it a dimension, like height and width? Is it a human construct? A byproduct of something else? We've got some fascinating clues, but the answer remains just out of reach. We can measure its passage with staggering accuracy using atomic clocks, a mainstream science fact for you, but we can't hold it, can't see it, can't touch it. We can only feel it, passing us by. And that feeling, as we'll soon discover, might be the most deceptive thing of all. This is the heart of the matter, the thing that keeps physicists up at night, the very same thing that lets you drift off to sleep. This mysterious nature of time, its fundamental yet perplexing status in the world of physics, is the very thing that makes it so fascinating to scientists and daydreamers alike. You see, while your personal experience of time feels so straightforward, a simple, linear progression, the universe at large doesn't necessarily agree. When physicists talk about the basic laws of the universe, the ones that govern how things interact, they often use equations that work just as well backward as they do forward. It's a bit like a video of a billiard ball rolling across a table and bouncing off another. If you played that video in reverse, the laws of motion would still hold true. The second ball would send the first one back to where it started, and everything would look perfectly normal. This is a mainstream scientific fact. The fundamental laws of physics are what we call time reversal symmetric. They don't have a built-in preference for which way time should flow. So, here's the open scientific mystery, the cosmic curveball that keeps brilliant minds awake at night. If the fundamental laws of physics are time symmetrical, why is your life not? Why do you remember yesterday, but not tomorrow? Why do you get older, not younger? Why do your coffee cups break and not spontaneously reassemble themselves? This is the problem of the arrow of time. Something, somewhere, is breaking this beautiful symmetry. The universe is not a time reversal symmetric video. It is a one-way street, and you are hurtling down it. There's a subtle but profound difference between the microscopic laws of physics and the macroscopic world you inhabit, the one full of cups of coffee, aging faces, and memories. This cosmic discrepancy is what makes the nature of time so maddeningly elusive. For all the equations and theories, physicists still can't point to a single, universally accepted reason for why time only moves forward. Some have proposed that it's a statistical phenomenon, something that only becomes apparent when you deal with a large number of particles. Think about a bag of marbles. If you shake it, the marbles will inevitably become more mixed up, more disordered. It's not that the individual interactions of any two marbles are irreversible, it's just that the probability of them all spontaneously unmixing themselves is so infinitesimally small, it's effectively zero. So, is time zero just a matter of cosmic probability? A cosmic game of chance, where the odds of moving backward are so terrible that you've never even seen a single particle try it? That's one of the great debates. Your own life is a testament to this arrow. You can watch a video of your favorite band's concert, then rewind it, and it makes perfect sense. The music plays backward, the singer's mouth moves in reverse, but the physics of sound and light are still technically valid. But you can't rewind your own life. The things you did yesterday are set in stone. The conversations you had, the mistakes you made, the laughs you shared, they all happened in a specific order, and you can't go back and change them. That's a joke, of course, because who wouldn't love a do-over on that time you wore socks with sandals? A fashion crime for the ages, right? The point is, your subjective experience of time, this unceasing forward march, is a deeply personal echo of a much larger, more mysterious cosmic truth, or at least what we think is a cosmic truth. The search for the ultimate cause of this arrow is a quest to understand one of the most fundamental characteristics of our reality. It's not just a matter of physics, it's a matter of existence itself. So, we're left with this cosmic riddle. Why does time have a direction? The fundamental laws are symmetrical, but the universe you experience is not. This brings us to one of the most compelling and widely accepted explanations for the arrow of time, the second law of thermodynamics. This is a mainstream scientific fact, and it's a big one. It's so central to our understanding of the universe that it governs everything from the life cycle of stars to why your bedroom is always a mess. The law states that in any isolated system, the total entropy can only increase or stay the same. It can never spontaneously decrease. Okay, so what exactly is entropy? It's a term you've probably heard, and it's often simplified as a measure of disorder or randomness. And that's a pretty good way to think about it for a calm bedtime science session. Imagine you have a box, and on one side of the box, all the gas molecules are neatly arranged. They're all in one corner, just chilling, minding their own business. Then you open a divider and let them loose. What happens? They don't all stay in their corner, do they? They spread out, bouncing off the walls, filling the entire box. They've gone from a low entropy state, ordered, all in one place, to a high entropy state, disordered, spread out everywhere. The key here is that the reverse is almost impossible. You're never going to open the box one day and find all those molecules have spontaneously decided to go back to their corner. It's just not going to happen. This is the universe's natural progression from order to disorder. And this, my friend, is where the arrow of time comes from. Time is tied directly to the increase of entropy. The past is the low entropy state, and the future is the high entropy state. Every single process you observe in your daily life, from the melting of an ice cube in your drink to the fading of a photograph, is a testament to this law. It's why an egg can fall and break, but it can't spontaneously unbreak and fly back up into the chicken. It's why you get older and not younger. Your body is a complex system, and over time, it's subject to the same relentless march toward a state of higher entropy. So, when you look in the mirror and notice a new wrinkle, you're not just seeing the passage of time on a personal scale. You're seeing the second law of thermodynamics in action. It's both a little poetic and, a total downer. Now, here's the open scientific mystery, the scholarly debate that makes this so fascinating. The second law of thermodynamics explains why time seems to flow forward in our universe, but it doesn't quite answer the bigger question. Why was the universe born in a state of such incredibly low entropy to begin with? The Big Bang, the moment our universe began, was a state of almost perfect order, a tiny, incredibly dense point. From there, everything expanded, cooled, and became more disordered, creating the universe we see today. But why did it start that way? Why wasn't it born in a high entropy state? This is one of the biggest unresolved questions in cosmology. Some physicists suggest it's a cosmic fluke, a 1 in a trillion shot. Others propose that our universe is just one of many, a temporary fluctuation in a much larger, timeless multiverse. It's a debate that touches on the very origin of everything, and it's driven by the simple, beautiful, and utterly relentless observation that in our universe, things only ever get messier. This connection between time and entropy is what makes your perception of the world so consistent. The arrow of time, governed by the second law of thermodynamics, is why you can be certain that your sandcastles on the beach will inevitably crumble. It's a mainstream scientific fact, a beautiful and somber truth about the nature of our universe. When you build that sandcastle, you are creating a small, temporary pocket of order. The grains of sand are meticulously arranged in a specific low-entropy configuration. But the moment you turn your back, the forces of nature, the wind, the tide, the simple pull of gravity, begin their work. Each grain of sand that falls is a tiny step toward a higher state of entropy. The sandcastle's eventual collapse is not a failure of your craftsmanship. It's a success for thermodynamics. This law is everywhere, from the grandest cosmic scale to the smallest, most mundane aspects of your life. Imagine a perfectly clean room with all your books on the shelf, your clothes neatly folded, and no rogue dust bunnies plotting a takeover. That's a low entropy state. Now, imagine what happens a week later or a month later without any intervention. The books are scattered, a coffee mug is on the floor, and those dust bunnies have successfully established a small empire under your bed. The room has naturally progressed toward a state of higher entropy. You have to actively expend energy to reverse this process, to clean up, to impose order on the chaos. The universe, in its natural state, simply prefers the mess. It's a bit like me trying to keep track of all the different jokes I'm supposed to make. They all just get jumbled together into one big cosmic dad joke. So, the second law of thermodynamics gives us a powerful explanation for why the world moves from order to disorder, and thus why time seems to have a direction. But here's the open scientific mystery, the scholarly debate that adds a layer of cosmic sadness to it all. Some physicists, like Sean Carroll, argue that this isn't just about things getting messier in a local sense. They propose that the entire universe is a system that began in an incredibly low entropy state and is relentlessly marching toward a state of maximum entropy, a state often called heat death. In this future, billions of years from now, all the stars will have burned out. All the matter will be spread so thin and so evenly throughout the cosmos that there will be no pockets of order, no heat, no energy differentials to do any work. It will be a state of uniform, eternal nothingness. The debate isn't about whether this will happen, most physicists agree it will, but about what it means for time itself. If time is tied to entropy, then as the universe approaches this maximum entropy state, what happens to time? Does it slow down? Does it stop altogether? Or does it simply become meaningless, without any processes to mark its passage? Some even suggest that in this state of heat death, the arrow of time might no longer be a one-way street. In a universe of perfect uniform disorder, the concept of forward or backward might cease to have meaning. It's a profound, almost philosophical question that arises directly from the physics of entropy. You are, in essence, a complex, high entropy being living in a low entropy pocket of a universe that is itself a high entropy being, on its way to becoming the ultimate cosmic couch potato. So, we've established that the universe's natural progression is toward a state of higher entropy, a cosmic messiness that is the very engine driving our sense of time's direction. This is why your sandcastles inevitably crumble, and why the universe itself seems to be on a one-way trip to cosmic disorganization. The connection between time and entropy is a powerful and elegant mainstream scientific fact. It gives us a reason, a physical mechanism, for why we see a progression from order to disorder, and thus why your memories are of the past and not the future. The past is the ordered state. The future is the disordered one. But here's where things get interesting and a little more complex. Entropy isn't just about things getting messier. It's also about things getting more complex. Think about the early universe, that tiny, incredibly low entropy point we talked about. It was simple, uniform, and had very little in the way of structure. As the universe expanded and cooled, it created a state where gravity could start to do its thing. Tiny fluctuations in density, those small pockets of order, began to attract more matter. Over billions of years, these tiny pockets grew into galaxies, stars, planets, and, eventually, you. These are incredibly complex, ordered structures that have emerged from a universe that is, on the whole, becoming more disordered. So, How do we reconcile this? How can the universe be getting messier overall while simultaneously creating things as mind-bogglingly complex as a human brain or a spiral galaxy?
This is the open scientific mystery, the scholarly debate that adds a layer of nuance to our understanding of time and entropy.
The resolution lies in the idea that these pockets of complexity are local, temporary reductions in entropy that are paid for by an even greater increase in entropy elsewhere. Think of the sun. It's a highly ordered system, a pocket of low entropy that is actively creating and sustaining life on Earth. But to do this, it's consuming its own hydrogen fuel, radiating energy out into the cold, dark universe. It's a process that creates a massive increase in the overall entropy of the cosmos. So, for every galaxy that forms, for every star that shines, and for every sandcastle you build, a far greater increase in entropy is occurring in the surrounding universe. It's a cosmic trade-off. We can have our pockets of complexity, but we can't cheat the second law of thermodynamics. This delicate balance between local order and global disorder is what allows for the rich, vibrant tapestry of existence. This is a beautiful and somewhat poignant way to think about your own life, isn't it? You, as a complex being, are a temporary low entropy system. You eat, you breathe, you think, all processes that require energy and produce waste, thus increasing the overall entropy of the world around you. You are, in essence, an entropy machine, and this is why you have a lifespan. The very act of living is a small, glorious rebellion against the cosmic push toward disorder, but it's a rebellion that you are destined to lose. Your sandcastles inevitably crumble, your body eventually gives out, and the universe keeps on its slow, inexorable march toward maximum disorder. It's a cosmic joke, really. The more you try to make your life organized, the more you have to fight against the natural flow of the universe, and the more energy you have to expend to do it. It's the ultimate lesson in letting go that the universe provides. The discussion of time as a product of entropy provides a powerful explanation for why it moves forward in our universe. But what if the very nature of time itself isn't a constant universal beat, but something much more fluid and personal? This brings us to a monumental shift in our understanding of time, a paradigm-changing idea proposed by a certain mustachioed genius. We're talking about Albert Einstein and his theory of relativity. This is a mainstream scientific fact that forever changed how we see the cosmos. Einstein revealed that time isn't a constant universal clock ticking away for everyone in the same way. It's a fundamental part of the fabric of the universe, and its passage is relative to your own motion and gravitational field. Before Einstein, time was thought to be absolute. Everyone, everywhere, experienced a second, a minute, and an hour in the exact same way. If you and I were watching the same clock, we'd agree on the time, no matter where we were in the universe. But Einstein showed this wasn't the case.
He proposed that the speed of light in a vacuum is a cosmic speed limit, and that it's constant for all observers. The weird part is, to keep this speed constant for everyone, something else has to give, and that something else is time and space.
Imagine you're on a spaceship traveling at a significant fraction of the speed of light. From your perspective, everything in your spaceship seems perfectly normal. But to a friend watching you from Earth, things would look very different. For them, your time would be running slower, your clock would tick more slowly, your movements would be in slow motion, and you would age less quickly. This isn't a sci-fi fantasy. It's a verified scientific fact called time dilation. The faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. It's a direct consequence of the laws of relativity. The universe, it turns out, is like a cosmic balancing act. You can have a lot of one, motion through space, or a lot of the other, motion through time, but you can't have a lot of both.
Here's the open scientific mystery, the philosophical conundrum that arises from this. If time is relative, then what is now? Your now and your friend's now are not the same.
If you're traveling at high speed, your present moment is a completely different slice of space-time than your friends back on Earth. This suggests that the idea of a universal present moment that everyone shares is a complete illusion. There is no single now that encompasses the entire universe. Instead, every observer has their own personal now, a subjective moment that depends on their unique position and motion. This is a concept that challenges the very core of your intuitive understanding of reality.
We like to think of the universe as a movie reel playing forward, with a single, shared, present moment. But relativity suggests it's more like a giant cosmic DVD, where every observer is pressing play at a slightly different point, and their particular vantage point determines what they experience as now.
It's a mind-bending idea, isn't it? It suggests that the past and the future aren't things that have happened or are yet to happen, but are just as real and present as the moment you are in right now.
The revelation that time is not an absolute universal constant, but is instead relative to an observer's motion, is a pretty profound one. But Einstein didn't stop there. His general theory of relativity added another layer of cosmic weirdness to our understanding of time.
This is another mainstream scientific fact, and it's the one that explains why time is not a flat, unchanging river, but a dynamic, undulating part of the universe's very structure. According to general relativity, gravity isn't a force pulling things together, but rather a consequence of massive objects bending the fabric of space-time. Imagine space-time as a trampoline stretched out flat. Now, if you place a heavy bowling ball in the middle, it creates a dent. If you then roll a smaller marble nearby, it won't travel in a straight line. It will curve inward, following the curve of the trampoline. This, in a very simplified sense, is how gravity works. Massive objects like planets and stars create dents in the fabric of space-time, and other objects, including light, follow these curves. But here's the beautiful, mind-bending part. Time is part of this fabric. So, if gravity warps space, it must also warp time.
This means that time passes more slowly in a stronger gravitational field. The closer you are to a massive object, the slower your clock will tick relative to someone farther away. For you, this effect is so tiny, it's completely unnoticeable. Your feet, being slightly closer to the Earth's center of mass than your head, are technically aging a fraction of a second slower. Don't worry, you're not going to end up with a youthful pair of feet and a wrinkly face. The difference is so minuscule that it's only measurable with incredibly precise atomic clocks. But for something like a GPS satellite, which is a significant distance away from Earth's gravity, the effect is real and measurable. The clocks on these satellites run slightly faster than clocks on the ground.
If we didn't correct for this difference, your GPS would be off by miles every single day. So every time you use your phone to navigate, you're relying on Einstein's theory of relativity. Now, for the open scientific mystery, the great scholarly debate that this phenomenon brings up. If time slows down in a strong gravitational field, what happens at the edge of a black hole? A black hole is a region of space-time where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape. The point of no return is called the event horizon. If you were to watch someone fall into a black hole, their clock would appear to slow down from your perspective. As they approach the event horizon, their time would seem to slow to a crawl and then stop altogether as they cross the point of no return. You would, in theory, see them frozen in time at the edge forever. But for the person falling into the black hole, nothing would seem out of the ordinary. They would cross the event horizon in a finite amount of their own time. They just wouldn't be able to send you a postcard from the other side. So, what is the real time here? Is the person frozen forever? Or did they cross the event horizon and cease to exist from our perspective? This is a profound mystery that challenges our understanding of the present moment and the reality of events. Is the past, present, and future of that person now stretched across an infinite amount of our time? It's a question that makes your head hurt, and it's a beautiful testament to the cosmic weirdness of time. The fact that time slows down near a strong gravitational field is a mind-bending consequence of general relativity.
But the other side of that cosmic coin, the idea that the faster you go, the slower time passes for you, is a concept that is both a verified scientific fact and a staple of science fiction. This effect, known as time dilation, means that your watch ticks slower at high speeds relative to someone who is at rest. It's not just a theoretical idea. We've measured it in laboratories by flying atomic clocks around the world on planes and comparing them to stationary clocks.
The flying clocks, moving at high speed, showed a tiny but measurable lag behind their earthbound counterparts. It's an undeniable truth of our universe. Imagine a simple scenario. You are in a rocket, traveling away from Earth at 99.9% the speed of light. Now, let's say you spend a year traveling. When you come back to Earth, you would be 1 year older.
But your friends and family back home, who have been waiting for you, would have aged much, much more. For them, 1,000 years might have passed. You would return to a world that is completely unrecognizable. You would be a living ghost, a time traveler who moved forward in time simply by moving through space at an incredible speed. This is not science fiction. It is a direct consequence of Einstein's special relativity. The universe has a speed limit, the speed of light, and it's a cosmic rule that everything has to obey. To maintain that rule, time and space must become flexible.
Now, for the open scientific mystery that this concept presents. While we can all agree that time dilation happens, a deeper scholarly debate is about the very nature of motion itself. In special relativity, motion is always relative. You could say you are moving and the Earth is at rest, or you could say the Earth is moving and you are at rest. The laws of physics work the same way for both of you. But time dilation seems to break this symmetry. If you are the one moving, you age less. If the other person is moving, they age less. This brings us to a classic thought experiment that has stumped students for decades, the twin paradox. Imagine two twins. Let's call them Alice and Bob. Alice gets in a rocket and travels at near the speed of light for a year and then returns. Bob stays on Earth. According to Alice, Bob is the one who moved away from her and then returned, so Bob should be the one who aged less. But according to Bob, Alice is the one who traveled, so she should be the one who aged less. Who is right? It's a paradox. The simple joke here is that they probably wouldn't be able to communicate anyway, because their respective realities would be so different, so they would just be stuck in their own relativistic realities. But the serious answer is that the paradox is resolved by acknowledging that Alice's journey was not symmetrical. She had to accelerate, turn around, and decelerate. This acceleration breaks the symmetry and makes her journey fundamentally different from Bob's. It's her clock, the one that experienced the acceleration, that will have run slower. So, Alice will return to Earth younger than her twin brother. It's a beautiful, elegant, and counterintuitive answer that reinforces the strange, flexible nature of time and space.
The twin paradox, which you now understand is resolved by the non-symmetrical nature of one twin's journey, is a perfect illustration of how time is not just a uniform ticking clock. It's a fundamental part of the space-time continuum, and its passage is intimately tied to your motion. The twin who makes the relativistic journey, the one who accelerates and turns around, ages less. This is a mainstream scientific fact, a beautiful consequence of Einstein's special theory of relativity. It's not just a thought experiment, it's a reality that we can measure and observe.
The truth is, both twins are right, in a way. But the experience of acceleration and deceleration is what makes one of them's time different. The twin in the rocket experiences a greater length of space-time on their journey. It's not just about a difference in speed, it's about a difference in the path taken through space-time itself. Imagine you're on a globe. You can go from New York to London by a straight path on the surface, or you can go the long way around. Both journeys get you there, but one path is shorter.
In a similar but far more complex way, the twin who stays on Earth takes the shorter path through space-time, while the twin in the rocket takes the longer path. The consequence of taking that longer path is that they experience less time.
It's a tricky concept to wrap your head around, but it's one of the most beautiful and verified aspects of modern physics. It's a reminder that the universe is far more complex and interesting than our intuitive day-to-day experience would lead us to believe.
The universe doesn't care about your sense of a consistent linear time. It cares about the geometry of space-time, and your personal experience is just a byproduct of that geometry.
Now, for the open scientific mystery, the scholarly debate that this paradox still manages to stir up. The resolution we just discussed, which hinges on the acceleration of the traveling twin, relies on special relativity.
But what if we brought in general relativity? What if we considered gravity? In general relativity, acceleration is indistinguishable from gravity in a local reference frame. This is a concept known as the equivalence principle.
So, what if the traveling twins' time dilation isn't just about their acceleration, but about their experience of a different gravitational field? Could the journey be set up in a way where the paradox isn't as easily resolved? Some physicists, for example, have proposed scenarios involving cosmic strings or wormholes, where the simple rules of special relativity might not apply, and the paradox might re-emerge in new and bizarre ways. The twin paradox, for all its elegant resolution, still serves as a kind of cosmic playground for physicists to test the boundaries of our understanding of space and time. It's a beautiful thought experiment that continues to inspire new ideas and debates about the true nature of reality. It's a perfect example of a joke that is actually a serious question about the universe. It's like asking, why did the twin cross the road? And the answer being, because his own reality was altered by a fundamental aspect of the cosmos that we barely understand.
The journey through relativity has shown us that time is not a fixed, universal constant, but is instead a flexible dimension, bending and stretching with motion and gravity. Your perception of time is, in essence, a personal experience, a subjective byproduct of your place in the space-time continuum. But what happens when we go from the vastness of the cosmos to the unimaginably small world of atoms and subatomic particles? This brings us to the strange and baffling rules of quantum mechanics. And here, the concept of time gets even weirder.
This is a mainstream scientific fact, but one that challenges our common sense intuition about pretty much everything. In the classical world, the world you and I inhabit, a particle has a definite position and a definite momentum at any given moment. But in the quantum world, things are different. A particle doesn't have a single fixed position. Instead, it exists in a cloud of probability, a superposition of all possible positions at once. It's only when you measure it that it chooses a specific location. The same goes for its momentum, its spin, and a host of other properties. The quantum world is hazy, probabilistic, and fundamentally uncertain, and time, it seems, is no different. The equations of quantum mechanics, like the Schrödinger equation, are beautiful and powerful, but they don't seem to have a clear, forward moving arrow of time built into them in the way we've come to expect.
They describe how a quantum system evolves over time, but they don't explain why time seems to have a direction. In fact, some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that at the most fundamental level, time might not even exist in the way we think it does.
The quantum world is governed by a sense of timelessness, a place where all possibilities coexist until the act of observation forces them into a specific reality. It's a bit like a cosmic game of hide and seek, where the particle is everywhere at once until you open the box.
This leads to a profound, open scientific mystery and scholarly debate. What role does the observer play in the flow of time? If a quantum particle exists in a superposition of states until it is measured, does the act of measurement itself, an act that takes place in time,
Create the illusion of time's direction? Some physicists argue that the arrow of time is a macroscopic phenomenon that emerges from the quantum world, but others suggest that the link between the two is even deeper. One particularly mind-bending idea, known as the Wheeler-DeWitt equation, is an attempt to merge general relativity and quantum mechanics. The equation is remarkable because it completely eliminates the variable for time. It suggests that, on the ultimate quantum scale, time doesn't exist at all. It's an emergent property, a product of our interaction with the universe. So, while you're sitting there, feeling the relentless forward march of moments, the universe itself, at its most fundamental level, might be a static, timeless place. The only thing that's moving is you. The joke here is that you're just a highly organized pile of quantum uncertainty, trying to make sense of a timeless reality by inventing a narrative of past, present, and future. The quantum world's hazy, probabilistic, and potentially timeless nature throws a huge wrench in our intuitive understanding of how time works. If at the most fundamental level, time doesn't seem to have a direction or might not even exist, then the ideas we've come to accept about time travel become even more fantastical. This brings us to the ultimate sci-fi staple, traveling backward in time.
can it be done? Is it even remotely possible? While relativity gives us the theoretical framework for moving forward in time, just get in a rocket and travel at near the speed of light. Traveling backward is a much harder nut to crack.
It's a mainstream science fiction possibility that has been explored in countless movies, books, and TV shows, and for good reason. It's a tantalizing idea. Physicists have spent decades exploring this concept, and the consensus is that it's highly, highly unlikely. But that doesn't mean they haven't found some interesting, if not completely bizarre, theoretical possibilities. One idea involves something called a wormhole, a hypothetical tunnel through space-time that could connect two different points in space, or even two different points in time. Imagine folding a piece of paper in half and poking a pencil through it. The pencil is the wormhole, connecting two distant points on the paper with a much shorter path. Now, if you could somehow stabilize a wormhole and send one end of it on a relativistic journey at near light speed, the time dilation effect would cause a time difference between the two ends. One end would be in the future relative to the other. If you were to then step into the wormhole from the present, you could, in theory, pop out at the end that is in the past. This is a fascinating theoretical possibility that is a consequence of general relativity. Another, even stranger idea involves something called a closed time-like curve, or CTC. A CTC is a path in space-time that returns to its starting point, allowing an object to travel back in time to an earlier event on its own world line. Imagine a line that loops back on itself.
An object traveling along that line would eventually return to the moment it started. While these are all fascinating theoretical ideas, there is a massive open scientific mystery and scholarly debate that makes them, for now, pure science fiction.
The consensus is that creating and stabilizing a wormhole would require something called exotic matter, which has negative mass energy. Exotic matter is purely hypothetical, and most physicists believe it doesn't exist. Even if it did, the amount of energy required to create and sustain a wormhole would be astronomical, far beyond anything we could ever hope to generate. This is the great, heartbreaking joke of time travel. The universe seems to have a built-in chronology protection conjecture, a kind of cosmic bouncer that prevents you from going backward in time and messing things up. It's as if the universe is saying, "Hey, that's my job. You can't get in here." This conjecture, first proposed by Stephen Hawking, suggests that the laws of physics themselves conspire to prevent the formation of closed time-like curves. While it's not a proven fact, it's a powerful argument that seems to be supported by the laws of physics as we currently understand them. So for now, you'll have to settle for just dreaming about going back in time to fix that one embarrassing thing you said at that party.
The theoretical possibility of backward time travel, whether through a wormhole or a closed time-like curve, immediately brings us face to face with a massive, mind-bending problem. This is the open scientific mystery, the philosophical conundrum that is the backbone of almost every time travel story ever written. I'm talking, of course, about causal loops and paradoxes. The most famous of these is the grandfather paradox. It's a classic for a reason, and it goes like this. What if you were to travel back in time and accidentally prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother? If you succeeded, then you would never have been born. But if you were never born, then you couldn't have gone back in time to prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother. It's a logical contradiction, a paradox that seems to make backward time travel impossible. This paradox is not just a fun little puzzle. It's a serious problem for physicists who dabble in the theoretical possibility of time travel. The laws of causality, the idea that a cause must precede its effect, are fundamental to our understanding of the universe.
If you could go back in time and change the past, then causality would be completely broken. The universe, in its current state, would have no reason to exist. It would be a non sequitur, a story with no beginning or end.
This is a mainstream philosophical debate that has been raging for centuries, long before Einstein gave us the tools to even think about it in a scientific way.
So, how do we resolve this? How do we deal with a paradox that seems to make time travel an impossibility? The scholarly debate offers a few potential solutions, each one stranger than the last. One idea is that the universe has a kind of self-correcting mechanism. No matter what you do, you simply can't change the past. If you go back in time to prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother, you'll fail. Maybe you get a flat tire on the way, or you get a sudden attack of the hiccups and miss your chance.
The universe conspires against you to preserve its own timeline. It's a bit like a cosmic game of whack-a-mole, where the universe is always one step ahead.
Another, and perhaps even more mind-bending solution, is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. This idea suggests that every time a quantum event has a choice, it splits the universe into two or more parallel universes. In one, the event happens one way, and in the other, it happens a different way. If this is true, then when you travel back in time, you don't go back to your past. Instead, You create a new, parallel universe. In this new universe, you can do whatever you want. You can successfully prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother. But in your original universe, nothing has changed. You were born, you grew up, and you went back in time. You've just created a new timeline, and the original one is safe from your meddling. It's a beautiful, elegant, and completely untestable solution. It suggests that the past is a fixed, unchangeable record, but that the future is an endless series of branching possibilities. The joke here is that you're so bad at making decisions in your own life that you have to travel to a new, parallel universe to make a different choice. The possibility of paradoxes in time travel has led to some pretty mind-bending resolutions, like the idea of self-correcting timelines or the creation of new parallel universes. These are all attempts to deal with a fundamental problem that arises from a very simple question: what is the nature of now? We've already established that for a physicist, now is relative, a subjective slice of space-time that depends on your motion and gravity. But for you, the idea of the present moment is a powerful and very real thing. You are living in a moment that is right now, and all the moments that have come before it are in the past, and all the moments yet to come are in the future. This is a mainstream philosophical and psychological concept. But what if the present moment is not a universal truth, but an illusion? This is the open scientific mystery, the scholarly debate that arises from our understanding of relativity. If time is a dimension, just like space, then all moments, past, present, and future, should be equally real. The past isn't gone forever, and the future isn't just a possibility. They are all just there, laid out in the cosmic fabric of space-time. The only thing that makes now special is that you are in it. It's like a spotlight moving across a stage. The spotlight is your consciousness, and the stage is space-time. The past is the part of the stage that the spotlight has already passed over, and the future is the part it has yet to get to. The stage itself, however, is a single, static entity. This idea is the basis of what is called the block universe theory. It's a truly mind-bending concept that suggests that the universe isn't a movie playing out over time, but a single, four-dimensional block of space-time where all moments, from the Big Bang to the heat death of the universe, exist simultaneously. The past isn't gone, it's just a different coordinate in space-time. The future isn't yet to happen, it's just a different coordinate in space-time. You don't move through time. Your consciousness is simply experiencing these coordinates in a specific linear order. It's a very deterministic view of the universe, and it suggests that free will might be an illusion. If the future is already laid out, then your choices are not really choices at all. They are just events that are already happening in a different part of the block. The joke here is that you're just a character in a cosmic movie, and the director already knows how it ends, so your surprise at the plot twists is just for show. This is a beautiful, elegant, and somewhat terrifying idea. It suggests that every moment of your life, from the first time you learn to ride a bike to the last time you close your eyes, is already written in the block. Your memories of the past aren't of something that has vanished. They are of a different part of the block that you have already visited. And your hopes and dreams for the future aren't of something that will happen. They are of a different part of the block that you are destined to experience. The now is simply the moment your consciousness is experiencing, but it has no special, universal significance. It's a profound thought that challenges your most deeply held beliefs about yourself and the nature of reality. The block universe theory, which suggests that all moments, past, present, and future, exist simultaneously, is a profound and unsettling idea. It's an elegant, if counterintuitive, way to reconcile our personal experience of time with the physics of relativity.
It's a mainstream scientific fact that the equations of relativity don't distinguish between past, present, and future in the way we do. They simply describe a four-dimensional manifold of space-time, a single static block where every event has a specific coordinate. The idea is that you aren't moving through time. Your consciousness is simply experiencing these coordinates in a linear sequence, creating the illusion of a flowing present moment. Think about a movie on a reel. All the frames exist at the same time, right there on the reel. The story only unfolds when the reel is run through a projector. In the block universe, you are the projector, and your consciousness is the light. The reel is the entire universe, with all its moments laid out in a single, unchanging sequence. The past isn't gone forever. It's a frame that's already been projected. The future isn't yet to come. It's a frame that's still on the reel. The now is simply the single frame that's being projected at this very moment. It's a deterministic view that removes the idea of a flowing, dynamic present and replaces it with a static, predetermined reality. The joke here is that your life is a movie that's been on the shelf for billions of years, and you're just now getting around to watching it. This brings us to a major open scientific mystery and scholarly debate. If the past, present, and future are all equally real, then what is the source of the arrow of time? Why do we, as conscious beings, Perceive time as moving in a single direction? The block universe theory doesn't have a built-in explanation for this. It can account for the past and future being equally real, but it can't explain why we remember the past and not the future.
The answer, according to some physicists, lies in our memories and our perception. The arrow of time might not be a fundamental property of the universe, but rather a byproduct of how our brains work. Some argue that our perception of time is tied to our local, low entropy state. We are, as we've established, systems that take in energy and produce waste, thus increasing the overall entropy of the universe. Our brains are part of this process. The act of forming a memory is a physical process, a series of neurological changes that are, in themselves, irreversible. Memories are records of past low entropy states.
We don't have memories of the future because the future, by its very nature, is a state of higher entropy, and those changes haven't happened yet. Our brains are, in a sense, a memory-making machine, and the arrow of time is the arrow of memory formation.
It's a beautiful idea that connects our personal, subjective experience of time directly to the thermodynamic arrow of time. The past is what you remember, the future is what you anticipate, and the present is the moment you are in right now, trying to make a new memory.
So, if the block universe theory is correct, and all moments exist simultaneously, then the only thing that gives us the perception of a flowing present is our consciousness.
This brings us to a crucial point and a mainstream scientific fact. Our brain's perception of time is a fascinating, subjective construction. You don't have a single time clock in your brain. Instead, your sense of time is a complex blend of different processes, all working together to create a coherent narrative of the past, present, and future. Different parts of your brain are responsible for different aspects of time perception.
Your cerebellum, for example, is involved in timing movements, while your hippocampus is crucial for creating and recalling long-term memories. The feeling of time passing is a result of your brain integrating information from all these different systems. It's an interpretation, not a direct measurement. Your brain is constantly taking in sensory information, processing it, and stitching it together into a coherent story.
And the arrow of time, that feeling of moving from past to future, is a crucial part of that story. It's what allows you to make sense of cause and effect, to learn from your mistakes, and to plan for the future. Without a sense of a linear, forward moving time, you would be lost in a sea of disjointed moments. Your brain, in its infinite wisdom, creates the illusion of a flowing time to give you a coherent experience of reality. The joke here is that your brain is basically a master storyteller, and you, the listener, are completely fooled by the narrative.
But here's the open scientific mystery and scholarly debate that arises from this. If our perception of time is a subjective construction, then what is consciousness itself? How does a collection of neurons and electrical signals give rise to the feeling of a self?
And the perception of a flowing present? Is consciousness just a byproduct of a low entropy state? A temporary pocket of order in a messy universe? Or is it something more fundamental, something that is a necessary prerequisite for the very existence of time? Some philosophers and physicists have proposed a conscious universe hypothesis, which suggests that consciousness is not a byproduct of the universe, but is, in a very real sense, a fundamental property of it. In this view, time and consciousness are deeply intertwined, with one giving rise to the other. It's a radical idea that flips the script on our conventional understanding of reality.
This idea also provides a potential answer to the question of why we remember the past and not the future. If consciousness is tied to the thermodynamic arrow of time, then our memories are, in a sense, a record of the path our consciousness has taken through the block universe.
The future, with its higher entropy and yet to be experienced events, is not something that our consciousness has encountered yet. It's like a car driving down a road. The rearview mirror shows you the road you've already driven on, but the windshield shows you the road you are about to drive on.
Both roads exist, but only one is a part of your memory. The arrow of time is, in this view, a personal arrow, a story told by your own mind. The idea that your brain is the master storyteller, crafting a personal, subjective experience of time from a timeless reality, is a beautiful and elegant one. But there's another layer to this, a much more primal and fundamental aspect of your relationship with time.
This is a mainstream scientific fact, and it's something that every living thing on Earth has. It's your biological clock. Your body has an internal, rhythm-based, time-keeping mechanism that governs everything from your sleep cycles to the release of hormones. These are called circadian rhythms, and they are what tell your body when to be awake and when to be asleep.
These biological clocks are not just some neat evolutionary trick. They are fundamental to your survival. They are what allow you to anticipate the daily cycles of the sun, to prepare for a meal, or to get ready for sleep.
They are incredibly precise, ticking away with a rhythm that is close to a 24-hour cycle. We know this because when scientists have put people in environments with no external time cues, no clocks, no windows, no internet, their sleep-wake cycles don't drift randomly. They settle into a rhythm that is slightly longer than 24 hours, proving that there is an internal, endogenous mechanism at work. The joke here is that your body is so good at keeping time that it doesn't even need a watch.
The master clock in your body is a tiny cluster of about 20,000 neurons in your brain, located in a region called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. The SCN gets its time cues from light hitting your eyes, which is why exposure to light in the morning is so important for keeping your internal clock on track. The SCN then sends signals to the rest of your body, telling it when to release hormones like melatonin, which makes you sleepy, and cortisol, which wakes you up.
This is a beautiful example of how your personal experience of time, the feeling of getting tired at night and waking up in the morning, is tied directly to a physical biological mechanism.
But this brings up an open scientific mystery and a scholarly debate that has been baffling scientists for years. While we know that these biological clocks exist and are incredibly important, we don't fully understand how they got their start.
How did a collection of cells learn to tell time? Some researchers believe that the circadian rhythm is a relic of a time when the Earth had a slightly different day length, a kind of biological fossil. Others believe that it's a fundamental property of life itself, a necessary adaptation to a planet that has a rhythmic cycle of light and dark. A more radical idea, proposed by some biologists, is that these clocks are not just for keeping time in the present, but are also an evolutionary adaptation for predicting the future. They allow a species to anticipate upcoming events, like the change of seasons or the availability of food. It's a profound thought that suggests that our perception of time isn't just about experiencing the present, it's about predicting the future. The existence of your biological clock, that internal timekeeping mechanism that governs your daily rhythms, is a beautiful testament to the deep biological roots of our relationship with time.
But what about other living creatures? Do they experience time in the same way you do? This brings us to a fascinating mainstream scientific fact. Different species experience time at vastly different rates.
Your subjective perception of a second, a minute, or an hour is not a universal constant across the animal kingdom. Think about a fly buzzing around your head. To you, its movements are a blur, a frantic, chaotic dance. But for the fly, your movements, your hand swinging to swat it, are in slow motion. The fly sees many more frames per second than you do. Its nervous system is faster, its perception of time is more granular. This gives it a huge evolutionary advantage, allowing it to react to threats and navigate its world with incredible speed. For the fly, a second is a long, drawn-out moment, full of information and detail. For you, it's a blink.
The joke here is that a fly's life might be short, but it's a very long and detailed one. This difference in time perception isn't just limited to insects. It's a spectrum that runs across the entire animal kingdom. Smaller, faster animals, like hummingbirds and mice, have a higher metabolic rate and a faster nervous system.
They experience time more quickly than larger, slower animals like tortoises or elephants. A tortoise, with its slow, deliberate movements and long lifespan, is likely experiencing time at a much slower pace than a hummingbird. A single day for a tortoise might feel like a week for a hummingbird. A concept that's both a mind-bending thought and a mainstream scientific theory supported by physiological data. It challenges your very notion of what a second or a minute even is. Is a second an objective unit of measurement, or is it just a biological construct, something that is only meaningful to the species experiencing it? This brings up a profound open scientific mystery and scholarly debate.
While we have a good handle on the physiological reasons for these differences in time perception, faster metabolisms, more reactive nervous systems, we don't have a clear answer as to whether this is a product of evolution or a fundamental property of consciousness.
Is the subjective experience of time a result of a species' unique physiology? Or is it a more fundamental, and yet, to be understood, aspect of their consciousness? Could it be that for a fly, a second is a minute, and for a tortoise, a minute is a second, and there is no objective reality to settle the score? It's a question that takes us from the realm of biology to the deepest reaches of philosophy. It's a reminder that your reality, your experience of the world, is just one of many, and that the universe is far richer and more complex than you can ever truly imagine. The subjective nature of time, whether it's a consequence of your brain's storytelling or the physiological makeup of your species, is a powerful idea, but you don't need to look at hummingbirds or tortoises to see how your perception of time can change. You only need to look at your own life. This brings us to a mainstream psychological fact: the perception of boredom. Time seems to crawl when you're bored, speeding up when you're busy. Think about a time you were waiting for a bus. The minutes felt like hours. You checked your phone every 30 seconds, and the clock seemed to be stuck in a state of suspended animation. But think about a time you were on vacation, completely immersed in a new experience. The days flew by in a blur, and you couldn't believe it was already time to go home.
This phenomenon is not a figment of your imagination. It's a well-documented aspect of human psychology, and it has a physical basis. When you are bored, your brain is not taking in a lot of new information. There is very little to process, very few new memories to form.
The absence of new stimuli means that your brain's internal timekeeping mechanisms have very little to do. It's like a computer with no programs running. The clock just ticks along, and you become acutely aware of its passage. But when you are busy, on vacation, or in a state of flow, your brain is inundated with new information. There are new sights, new sounds, new emotions.
Your brain is working overtime to process all this new data, and because there is so much to do, it doesn't have time to consciously keep track of the minutes and hours. The joke here is that your brain is just as lazy as you are sometimes. It only gets to work when there's something fun to do. This brings us to a fascinating, open scientific mystery and scholarly debate. The connection between time perception and new information might be more than just a psychological quirk.
Some cognitive scientists and neurobiologists have proposed that our brain's perception of time is a function of how much new information it's processing. The more new memories you form, the more time seems to fly by. And the fewer new memories you form, the slower time seems to pass.
This could be a byproduct of your brain's attempts to organize information. A busy brain, one that is creating a lot of new memories, has a lot of new folders to create. A bored brain, one that is creating very few new memories, has very few new folders to create. The arrow of time, in this view, is tied to the arrow of memory formation. This has a profound consequence for how you perceive your own life. As you get older, you tend to form fewer new memories. The world becomes more familiar, more predictable. You've seen 1,000 sunsets, 1,000 sunrises. Your brain, having processed all this information before, doesn't have to work as hard to make sense of it. And so, time seems to speed up. The years fly by, and you wonder where the time went. The answer might not be in the laws of physics, but in the internal workings of your own mind.
It's a poignant and beautiful idea that your personal, subjective experience of time is a reflection of your own life's journey.
The psychological effect of time seeming to speed up as you get older, due to a reduction in novel experiences and memory formation, is a powerful reminder that your personal relationship with time is just that, personal. But let's zoom out from the individual and look at the cosmos itself.
On a cosmic scale, time's flow is both immense and fleeting. This is a mainstream scientific fact, one that is a little dizzying to contemplate. The universe is about 13.8 billion years old. That's a number that is almost impossible to comprehend. It's so big that a single human lifespan, 100 years, is a fraction of a second in cosmic time. A lifetime to the universe is a blink.
Think about the life cycle of a star. A small star, like our sun, will burn for about 10 billion years. That's a period of time so vast it makes your head spin. But a giant star, one that is 100 times more massive than our sun, might only burn for a few million years.
And a quasar, one of the brightest objects in the universe, might only last for a few 100,000 years. The cosmic timescale is so vast and so varied that the very idea of a second or a year becomes almost meaningless.
The universe has its own rhythm, its own sense of time, and it's a rhythm that is both grand and indifferent to the human experience. The joke here is that the universe doesn't care about your deadlines. This brings up a fascinating open scientific mystery and scholarly debate. While we have a pretty good handle on the age of the universe and the life cycles of stars, the concept of cosmic time presents a profound philosophical problem.
If time is relative, as Einstein taught us, then the age of the universe is also relative. The age of the universe as we measure it, 13.8 billion years, is based on our local frame of reference.
But what about the age of the universe from the perspective of a particle traveling at near the speed of light since the Big Bang? For that particle, almost no time would have passed at all. The universe, in its entirety, would have been experienced in a fraction of a second.
So, what is the true age of the universe? Is it 13.8 billion years, or is it almost zero? The answer, of course, is both, and neither. It depends entirely on the observer. This idea challenges the very notion of a single, objective cosmic history. There is no single, unified timeline for the universe. There is only a collection of subjective timelines, each one experienced by a different observer in a different frame of reference.
The universe is not a single grand story with a single beginning and a single end. It is a collection of a trillion stories, each one a valid and true account of reality.
It's a humbling and somewhat terrifying thought that the story you tell yourself about the universe, your place in it, and the passage of time is just one of many, and a very short one at that.
The idea that there is no single, objective cosmic timeline, but rather a collection of subjective realities, brings us back to the most profound of all cosmic narratives, the one we started with, the one about the relentless march toward a state of higher entropy. We've talked about how the second law of thermodynamics governs why your coffee cools and your sandcastles crumble. But on the grandest scale, this law predicts a much more somber fate for the entire universe. This is a mainstream scientific fact, and it's a little bit of a cosmic downer.
I'm talking about the heat death of the universe.
The heat death of the universe is the ultimate conclusion of the second law of thermodynamics. It's the point at which the universe will have reached a state of maximum entropy.
All the energy in the universe will be evenly distributed. All the matter will be spread out so thin that no stars can form, and the temperature will be so low that all processes, all activity, will grind to a halt. There will be no more gradients, no more pockets of order, no more life.
The universe will become a cold, dark, and uniform nothingness, existing in a state of eternal, motionless stasis. It's a cosmic joke, really. The universe, in its quest for total messiness, eventually becomes so messy that there's nothing left to get messy.
The timeline for this event is almost unimaginable. It's not a few million years from now, or a few billion. It's a trillion years from now, a number so large that it makes the age of the universe look like a child's scribble.
But it's a fate that, according to our current understanding of physics, is inevitable. The universe, like your room, is a system that is inexorably marching toward a state of ultimate disorder.
The stars will burn out, the black holes will evaporate, and all that will be left is a cold, dark soup of particles drifting endlessly apart.
This brings up a deep, open scientific mystery and scholarly debate.
If the universe will eventually reach a state of maximum entropy, what happens to time itself? Does time cease to have meaning in a universe where nothing is happening, where there are no processes to mark its passage? Some physicists, like Sean Carroll, argue that in a state of heat death, the arrow of time might no longer be a one-way street. In a universe of perfect uniform disorder, the concept of forward or backward might cease to have meaning. Without any local fluctuations, without any pockets of order, the statistical basis for the arrow of time vanishes. The universe becomes timeless, existing in an eternal, unchanging state. The joke here is that the universe will finally have reached the ultimate level of chill, and you won't be around to enjoy it. It's a profound thought that the very thing that gives our lives meaning, the passage of time and the possibility of a future, is a temporary phenomenon in a universe that is on its way to a state of eternal stasis. It suggests that your life, with all its moments of joy and sadness, with all its hopes and dreams, is a fleeting, beautiful, and ultimately insignificant pocket of order in a universe that is destined for ultimate chaos. It's a sobering thought, but also a beautiful one, that the very fact that you exist and can contemplate these things is a miracle in and of itself. The notion of the heat death of the universe, a cold, dark, and uniform nothingness, gives us a profound, albeit somber, picture of time's ultimate end. But what about its beginning? This is a mainstream scientific fact, and it's the origin story of everything you know and love, the Big Bang. We believe that time itself began with this monumental event, a moment of cosmic singularity where all the matter and energy in the universe were compressed into an infinitely small, infinitely hot, and infinitely dense point. The Big Bang wasn't an explosion in space, but rather the expansion of space itself from this single point. The Big Bang theory is one of the most successful and well-supported scientific theories of all time. We have a mountain of evidence for it, from the cosmic microwave background radiation, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, to the observed expansion of the universe. Every galaxy we look at is moving away from us, and the farther away it is, the faster it's moving. This is a direct consequence of the universe's expansion, a kind of cosmic stretching that has been going on for 13.8 billion years. This expansion is what created space, and with it, time. Before the Big Bang, there was no space and no time. The very concept of before is meaningless. This brings up a beautiful and deeply unsettling open scientific mystery and scholarly debate. The Big Bang theory describes the evolution of the universe after a fraction of a second, but it doesn't describe the singularity itself. Our current laws of physics, general relativity, and quantum mechanics break down at this point. They can't tell us what happened at the moment of the Big Bang, or what, if anything, existed before it. It's a kind of cosmic curtain, and we can't see what's behind it. The joke here is that the universe has a strict no spoilers policy about its own origin story. Some physicists, like Stephen Hawking, have proposed that the universe is a self-contained entity, a kind of four-dimensional sphere with no beginning and no end. In this model, the Big Bang is just the point where the sphere begins to expand, but there is no moment before it. Other theories, like the cyclical universe hypothesis, propose that the Big Bang was not the beginning of time, but just the most recent in a series of Big Bangs and Big Crunches. In this model, the universe expands, then contracts back into a singularity, and then bounces into a new Big Bang, and the cycle repeats itself over and over again for all of eternity. It's a beautiful, elegant, and completely untestable idea that suggests that time might not be a linear, forward-moving arrow, but a cyclical, repetitive process. This is the kind of profound question that keeps physicists up at night,
the kind that makes you question everything you thought you knew about reality.
If the universe has a beginning, then what caused it? And if it's a cyclical process, then what about the memories and experiences of all the previous cycles? Do they just vanish into nothingness? It's a mind-bending question that takes us to the very edge of human knowledge. The question of what, if anything, existed before the Big Bang is one of the most profound and tantalizing open scientific mysteries there is. Our current understanding of physics completely breaks down at the point of the singularity, a mainstream scientific fact that humbles even the most brilliant minds. The very concept of before loses its meaning when time itself begins with the Big Bang. It's a bit like asking what's north of the North Pole. The question itself is nonsensical. Time is a dimension, and the Big Bang is the starting point of that dimension. There is no before because there was no dimension to be in.
This doesn't stop physicists from coming up with creative and mind-bending theories to deal with this problem. Some have proposed that our universe is just one of many, a temporary fluctuation in a much larger, eternal multiverse.
In this model, the multiverse is a vast ocean of energy, and our universe is a tiny bubble that has formed within it. The Big Bang, in this view, is not the beginning of everything, but just the moment our particular bubble began to inflate. The joke here is that our universe is just one of many cosmic soap bubbles, and you're just a tiny piece of froth on the surface. Another, even stranger idea is that of a timeless universe. This scholarly debate suggests that time, as we know it, is not a fundamental property of reality, but is an emergent property, a byproduct of something else. In this view, the universe is a static, unchanging entity, a collection of all moments from the Big Bang to the heat death, laid out like a cosmic tapestry. The Big Bang in this view is just one point on that tapestry, and the beginning is not a temporal event, but a structural feature. The question, what was before the Big Bang, becomes meaningless because the concept of before doesn't apply to a timeless entity. The universe simply is.
This idea is the basis of a theoretical framework known as quantum gravity, an attempt to reconcile general relativity with quantum mechanics. In some formulations of quantum gravity, time is not a fundamental variable.
It's a bit like how temperature isn't a fundamental property of a single atom, but an emergent property of a large collection of atoms. A single atom doesn't have a temperature, but a large collection of atoms does. In a similar way, time might not be a fundamental property of a single quantum event, but an emergent property of a large collection of quantum events. The Big Bang, in this view, is not the beginning of time, but the moment where this emergent property first came into being. It's a mind-bending idea that challenges your most deeply held beliefs about reality. It suggests that the past and the future are not things that have happened or are yet to happen, but are just as real and present as the moment you are in right now. It's a concept that takes us to the very edge of human knowledge, and it's a beautiful reminder that the universe is far stranger and more interesting than we can ever truly imagine.
The idea that time might not be a fundamental property of the universe, but rather an emergent property, a byproduct of something else, is a truly mind-bending concept. It's an open scientific mystery and scholarly debate that has profound implications for our understanding of reality.
This is a mainstream scientific fact. Our most fundamental physical theories, especially at the quantum level, don't seem to have a clear, built-in arrow of time. The equations work just as well backward as they do forward. So, if time isn't fundamental, where does it come from? One of the leading ideas is that time is an emergent property of the second law of thermodynamics, which we discussed earlier. The flow of time, the arrow from past to future, is a consequence of the universe's inexorable march toward a state of higher entropy. In this view, time is a statistical phenomenon, something that only becomes apparent when you're dealing with a large collection of particles. Think of it like this. A single atom doesn't have a temperature, but a collection of 1,000,000,000,000 atoms does.
Temperature emerges from the collective behavior of a large number of particles. In a similar way, time might emerge from the collective behavior of a large number of quantum events.
The joke here is that you're just a highly organized collection of quantum events, and your perception of time is a statistical anomaly.
Another intriguing idea is that time is a byproduct of gravity. In this view, the curvature of space-time, the very thing that gives rise to gravity, is what creates the illusion of time. The universe is not a static block of space-time, but a dynamic, ever-changing entity, and the passage of time is a consequence of this dynamism. The Big Bang, in this view, is not the beginning of time, but the beginning of a state where time could exist.
Before the Big Bang, there was no space-time, and therefore no time. It's a beautiful idea that links the very fabric of the cosmos to our personal experience of a flowing present.
But the most mind-bending idea of all, the one that truly challenges our understanding of what it means to be, is that time might be a byproduct of consciousness. This is a profound philosophical and scientific debate. The idea is that the universe itself is a timeless, static entity, and that the passage of time is a subjective experience that is created by your own mind. It's a bit like a cosmic movie that's already been filmed. The movie exists in its entirety on the reel, but the story only unfolds when you, the conscious observer, run the reel through the projector. In this view, the arrow of time is not a property of the universe, but a property of your consciousness. The past is what you remember, the future is what you anticipate, and the present is the moment you are in right now, creating new memories. This idea has some pretty profound consequences. It suggests that if you were to somehow stop being conscious, time would, for you, cease to exist. The universe would still be there, in its static, timeless glory, but you wouldn't be there to experience its passage. It's a sobering and beautiful thought that the very thing that gives our lives meaning, the passage of time, is something that is created by our own minds. The possibility that time is not a fundamental property of the universe, but a product of our consciousness, is a profound and beautiful idea. It reimagines time's true nature, shifting it from an external, objective force to an internal, subjective experience. This is a scholarly debate that connects our deepest philosophical questions with cutting-edge physics. If you were to ask a scientist from the 17th century about time, they would tell you it's an absolute universal constant, a kind of cosmic clock that ticks away for everyone in the same way. But our journey through relativity and quantum mechanics has shown us that this view is, at best, a charming oversimplification. Time is a much more flexible and personal thing. The idea that time is a product of human cognition, a narrative we tell ourselves to make sense of the world, is supported by a mainstream scientific fact. Your brain's perception of time is not a precise, objective measurement. It's an interpretation.
Your brain, as we've discussed, is a master storyteller, and the story it tells you is one of a linear, forward-moving time. This narrative is crucial for your survival. It allows you to make sense of cause and effect, to learn from your mistakes, and to plan for the future. Without this narrative, you would be lost in a sea of disjointed, timeless moments. The joke here is that your brain is so good at its job that it's convinced you that its fictional story is the ultimate truth.
But what if this story is not just a cognitive trick? What if it's a necessary byproduct of the universe itself? This is the open scientific mystery that takes us to the edge of what we can know.
Some physicists, like Carlo Rovelli, propose that time is not a dimension in the way we think of it, but rather a property of a system's evolution. In this view, time is a measure of change. If nothing changes, then no time has passed.
The universe, in its timeless quantum state, is a collection of events, but without an observer to perceive those changes, there is no time. The arrow of time, in this view, is a consequence of our being, as conscious observers, in a constant state of change. We are born, we grow, we learn, and we eventually die. This is our personal arrow of time, and it's a beautiful echo of the universe's own thermodynamic arrow. This idea has some pretty profound implications. It suggests that time is not something that exists independent of you, but something that is created by you. The past is not a place you can go back to, and the future is not a place you can go to. They are both parts of a single, timeless reality, and your consciousness is the only thing that gives them a sense of order. The arrow of time, in this view, is not a cosmic law, but a personal one. It's a reminder that you, with your memories and your hopes and your dreams, are not just a passenger on the river of time. You are the river itself. It's a humbling and beautiful thought that the very thing you've been so worried about, the passage of time, is something that you are, in a very real sense, creating. The idea that you, the conscious observer, are the very engine of time's passage is the culmination of our journey into this profound and beautiful mystery. It suggests that time is a deeply personal and subjective experience, a narrative created by your own mind to make sense of a timeless universe. This is an open scientific mystery and scholarly debate that has no easy answers, but it's a powerful and poetic way to think about your existence. What if there is no real time, just a series of static moments? What if the universe is a kind of cosmic flip book with all the pages already drawn, and your consciousness is the act of flipping through them? This brings us back to a mainstream scientific fact that has been a recurring theme in our discussion: the second law of thermodynamics. The universe, in its relentless march toward higher entropy, is moving from a state of low entropy to a state of high entropy. Our conscious minds, in their quest to create a coherent narrative of time, are, in a sense, following this same path. Our memories are of past low entropy states, and our anticipation of the future is of a future high entropy state. The arrow of time, the arrow of memory, and the arrow of thermodynamics are all one and the same. It's a beautiful, elegant, and deeply personal connection. The joke here is that you're just a highly organized collection of atoms, telling yourself a story about the past, present, and future, and the universe is just listening politely. This leads to a profound and beautiful conclusion, that in a very real sense, you are living in a timeless universe. The past is not gone forever, and the future is not yet to come. They are all just there, laid out in the cosmic fabric of space-time. The only thing that's moving is you, the conscious observer, experiencing these moments in a linear sequence. This is a profound and humbling thought. It suggests that your life, with all its moments of joy and sadness, with all its hopes and dreams, is a fleeting, beautiful, and ultimately insignificant pocket of order in a universe that is destined for ultimate chaos. But it's also a beautiful one, that the very fact that you exist and can contemplate these things is a miracle in and of itself. The paradox of time is that it feels so personal and so real. And yet, when you look at it from the perspective of physics, it seems to vanish into nothingness. The solution to this paradox, the final answer to the question of what exactly is time, might not be in the laws of physics, but in the nature of consciousness itself.
It's a reminder that the universe is far stranger and more interesting than we can ever truly imagine, and that our understanding of it is always a work in progress. It's a beautiful mystery, and it's a beautiful one to drift off to sleep to. And so, we come to the end of our journey into the mystery of time. The grand cosmic narrative, the relentless march of the universe from the Big Bang to the heat death, is a story that has no beginning and no end, but only a succession of moments that you, the conscious observer, are experiencing. You are not a passenger on the river of time, you are the river itself. The past is what you remember, the future is what you anticipate, and the present is the moment you are in right now, creating new memories. As you drift off to sleep, let the gentle current of these thoughts carry you away. The universe, in its static, timeless glory, is a place of infinite peace. The past is safe in your memories, a collection of beautiful, unchanging moments. The future is an open, uncharted territory, a place of endless possibility. The present is a single, beautiful, fleeting moment, and it is a moment that you are a part of. You are a part of a cosmos that is both vast and personal, both grand and intimate.
You are a miracle of order in a universe that is destined for chaos. You are a story in a timeless book. You are a song in a silent universe. You are, in every single moment, a testament to the beauty and the mystery of existence.
So let your thoughts drift. Let the gentle hum of the cosmos lull you into a deep and peaceful sleep. There is no beginning, there is no end. There is only now, and now you are safe. Now you are at peace. Now you can rest.